It's time for Brush Street Beat presented by McLaren Health Care, and today's guest is Tigers catcher Jake Rogers. Jake, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to start this one off with a little bit of bad news. It's unfortunate that yesterday we found out that minor league baseball, the seasons are canceled officially for 2020. From your perspective, I want to know what kind of pressures or how does it change your mindset heading into spring training?
Man, that's tough to hear. That's a big part of a lot of people's communities, a lot of people's, a lot of jobs, a lot of stuff. A lot of people are hurt by that. So I give my condolences to them because, I mean, that was a big part of my life for the past 3 years or so. So I feel for those guys, but I know that the guys that want to work hard and they still will and will come out running next year. But as far as for me going into spring training, I'm just happy. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be with the guys, and start baseball again because America's pastime is back, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to that.
Jake, what has it been like during this pandemic? I mean, were you down in Florida? Were you back home in Texas? What exactly were you doing? How are you in game shape? Like if Ron comes up to you and says, "Guess what, Jake? The season starts tomorrow, and you're catching," could you do it?
Oh yeah, I could do it. I was actually in Texas. I was in Texas for the past couple months, and for the past couple weeks, actually 2 or 3 weeks, we've been doing a lot of like live BPs, kind of a lot of sim games. So it's actually kind of in game shape, and that's kind of what I wanted to do was, whenever that phone call was or whenever the news broke that we were able to come back, I wanted to be ready, and that's kind of all the players wanted to be. It was wanted to be ready as possible, and that's just kind of what my mindset was. But as far as that, I didn't do much during the break. I was getting bored, so I'm kind of glad I'm up here in Detroit and getting going again because I was getting pretty bored.
Hey, we're happy that all of you guys are back. And with this short baseball season, you guys are going to be playing 60 games in 66 days. So that's a lot of games. And there's a good chance that you could make your major league appearance with the Tigers this season. What do you think you're going to have to do to kind of to prove yourself in that? Because this is a great opportunity, especially for somebody like you who is going to get to come up and play a few games, hopefully. So what do you think this opportunity presents for you?
Yeah, I just go out there in this spring training 2.0 and just show and be me. I just got to be me, and hopefully that's enough. But I'm gonna go out and do what I can to prove to Guardy that I deserve a spot on that 30 man or whenever that starts. So that's just kind of what I want to do. I want to go out there and be me and have some fun and play with these guys and help those guys any way possible. And if they think it's a fit to start with the team, then so be it.
Jake, follow me on this one. You are part of the Justin Verlander deal. And obviously, JV is still beloved here in Detroit. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully, he goes in with a Tigers cap on and not an Astros, but that's for another time. I know you can't decide that for him. But I'm kind of curious, do you feel pressure because of what brought you to Detroit? I know there's pressure on you all the time, but an added pressure when you sit down, or are you like feeling good? Hey, I'm part of the Justin Verlander trade. That's doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I don't think much of it other than when people bring it up. But it's pretty cool to really to be a part of that. He's loved here in Detroit and Houston now, and he's obviously a Hall of Fame caliber pitcher. So it's pretty cool to have my name associated with his. So, but other than that, I don't really think of it much. I just try to like I said before, be me, and it's just a label they put on me, but it's not a bad label, so I'm not complaining.
Jake, defense is a huge part of your game as a catcher. It may even be what's considered your strong suit, but you're also known as a power hitter. And when you do make contact with the ball, you're hitting home runs. That's just the reality of it. Do you feel like you need to improve in the middle there? Do you feel like you need to improve, maybe it's not a home run, but hitting singles and doubles? And like I said, you're making contact, you're hitting it far. Do you feel like you need to improve in other areas?
Yeah, of course. I think that was what I want to do is kind of you know check down a little bit on the strikeouts. That was kind of a big thing in the big leagues last year, and get a little more walks and kind of be a little more patient. But yeah, so that's kind of what I worked on this offseason was kind of getting into a more balanced position so I can handle more pitches and be ready for anything they throw at me. Because that was one thing I struggled with last year, and it was one thing I wanted to work on going into this offseason and this pandemic or whatever. So it's just it's been good, and I'm excited to get going and see where all the hard work gave me.
As Daniella alluded to, you're great defensively. Even when the trade was made, Tigers catcher of the future. You were labeled the Tigers catcher of the future, a real gem. You throw out runners at over a 50% clip, which is excellent for a catcher. What makes a good catcher? How because we every time we see a guy steal a base, I think 9 out of 10 times the announcer says or the analyst says, "Well, that was on the pitcher. That was on the pitcher," which I guess as a catcher you're pretty glad to hear. But how are you so efficient at throwing out runners? Is it you throw from your stance? You don't stand up. I mean, is there a key to throwing base runners out? In this very long question that I'm finally getting to the crux stuff.
No, I think just a lot of work, early on in my career. When I was young, I played a lot of positions, and I think being athletic really helped me in throwing out runners and stuff. But when I was growing up, I played a little catcher here and there, but I played shortstop, and so I had really quick hands and not a very strong arm. So I think that really helped me, as far as getting the ball as quick as possible to second base because I didn't have such of a strong arm. And then when I grew into myself and my arm started getting a little stronger, that just kind of put me to the top a little bit. So, I think just over the years, I've kind of gotten better with what helps me and everything like that. So I think I attribute a lot of that to being athletic and being able to play multiple positions, younger in my career. So that's what I attribute most of it to.
Jake, it's been said that you have some great chemistry with some of the Tigers' top pitching prospects, including Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, and Matt Manning as well. What do you have to say about those guys? And Alex Faedo, too, we can throw him in there, the big four, really. What do you have to say about your chemistry with them, and how do you guys think that has built over the past couple of years?
Yeah, I love those guys a lot. I mean, we not only are they great pitchers, they're great dudes too. So they're easy to hang out with, and I've even playing with them a little bit. I haven't played with Tariq other than this past spring training, but playing with Casey, playing with Fido and Matt the most. So growing with those guys through the minor leagues, I think helped a lot. Especially with a couple of those guys that I played a lot with and even lived with. So those guys are great. And I'm really excited for them to be here and possibly get a chance this year. And they're hard workers and they're great pitchers too. So I think Detroit and me are really excited to see them.
One of the things that I think is really fascinating about catching is that you call the game, or you at least try to call the game with pitches. Do you have a book on hitters? Do you go over it with Gardy or the pitching coach or somebody about the opposition? And what is it like when a guy keeps shaking you off? Do you call timeout and go out to the mound and say, "Look, dude, throw the fastball. I don't care what you want to throw the fastball," or do you defer to the pitcher?
Right. So we call the game, but it's the pitcher's game. So if they, and some guys like to shake off a lot. Some guys, you're not on that same page yet, but it's a pretty strenuous thing. We go through a hitters. They give us a hitters book so if we're playing Kansas City or Cleveland, the next week for the next 3 or 4 games, they'll give us a book on all the hitters, and we'll update our what their weaknesses are, what their strengths, on a big piece of paper. And then before each game and before each series, we'll meet with the relief pitchers and the starting pitcher and kind of go over what I have and what they have and kind of combine that. And then we go into the game with kind of that plan, hoping we're on the same page and things go smoothly and everything goes great. But as far as the mound visit, and they're shaking off a lot, you only have 6 now, so it's kind of hard to go out there and talk and get on the same page. So most of the time we do most of the talking in the dugout. So he'll say, "Okay, I called this error. This is what I wanted. And this is why." And then I'll give my 2 cents of what I thought and why, and then we go from there. And it's just kind of one of those big things where you just kind of keep button heads until you get on that same page, and when you do, it's easy going.
Jake, can you kind of describe what the competition is like at spring training? And I mean, now it's spring training 2.0. So it's twice that it's happened this year. But like you mentioned earlier with the pitchers, they're great guys, and I'm sure you're friends with a lot of these guys. But the reality is you're all fighting for a spot on the Tigers 30-man roster for the season. So what is that competition really like?
You know, we're all in there for the competition. I mean, obviously we're all competing for a job, like you said, but I mean the guys. It's not really hard headed. You know, we don't talk to each other. You know, nothing like that. We're all in the same spot. We're all trying to get to the same spot, and it's kind of been nice. You know, it's been really helpful. Guys, you know, clash with each other and talk with each other and kind of pick each other's brains and kind of go from there. It's not really, you know, it's kind of a deep down competition, not, you know, outside competition. So, you know, on the outside. So, you know, people go in and know what they're fighting for and know what they need to, where they need to be. But at the same time, it's, you know, trying to help each other and be teammates as much as possible.
With the cancellation of the minor league season, so the Mud Hens won't be taking the field this year. However, if you don't make the Tigers right out of this little mini summer camp, I guess as they're calling it, you will be part of that. The 20 guys that are going to be down in Toledo getting ready for the season. A 60-game season, injuries could happen. I mean, you've got to be ready. Do you get along with all the other 19 guys? Because you're going to be seeing a lot of each other over the how is that going to play out? Simulated games. I mean, you want to play competition, obviously. You'd like to play maybe other guys, you know, the wherever Cleveland's camp is or something. But do you think you'll be able to get the work in that you're going to need in that situation where you're just playing against your teammates down in Toledo if that happens?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I'm obviously trying to make the team, and if that happens, that's cool. But if not, you know, I'm going to go down there and do what I need to do and help those pitchers down there, help the hitters, whatever I need to do, you know, to get those guys ready and get myself ready. So, you know, it's whatever we do down there, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen as far as what we're going to do if we get to Toledo. You know, but that competition thing is a big part of it. But, you know, if they put us on the field and we're competing against, you know, whoever's on the mound and I'm hitting, or if I'm catching, I'm competing against the guy in the box. So whether there's 8 guys in front of us, we're going to be ready to go if someone happens to get hurt or, you know, comes down with this virus, you know, something crazy might happen. You know, we're all going to be ready to go.
Jake, we are all really excited to see you guys take the field for spring training. Baseball's back. Like I said, we're all super excited. So best of luck to you in spring training. And thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, a big thank you to McLaren Health Care for presenting Brush Street Beat this week and every week right here on the Word on Woodward.